Ready and go, baby, go.
Oh, baby.
Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 311, it is the welcome return of Colin, my man in China. Yes, back in, first met in 2020 on episode number 45. How far
Oh,
we've come. Yes,
wow.
there you go. How are you, sir?
Let me get your energy. Woo! Ha! So, yeah, I am good. My life warriors. I'm glad to be back here on this podcast. And I've been waiting to come back here for literally years. And finally, I have a good reason and mission to come back and join the Day In and Day Out podcast. And I'm happy to be back here in the 300s. Oh my gosh, brother, that is a lot.
Well, like, you know what? You got to work, you got to hustle, and yeah. And like, this is the thing. When you're doing the podcast game, it's a case of you need to get those reps in to get into good podcast shape. You know what I mean?
I know
Moving.
what you mean. Yeah, I know
Mm,
what you mean, man. So thank you for having me back on the podcast, and I look forward to uh, putting you on the spot and really getting your support, continued support. Because, brother, man, you understand something, man. When I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I'll share more about it. But I literally think of you. I want to at least once a week, because when I think about getting up and exercising, and I say, nah, I'm not going to get up and do it. I think about your videos with you at night with your headlamp on out there running and running and running. And before that, doing a push up. So just so you know, man, you've inspired me greatly. And if you've inspired me, you've inspired a lot of other people. So just know that.
look, put it this way, man. Look, I would say, like, same with you, man. Look, the whole thing is this, brother. Look, yeah, with like, yeah, let's just say with your epic birthday runs, and like that's one thing. But yeah, when you went, okay, yeah, I want to do Goggins, like, yeah, 4448, and you were like, going, will you do it with me? I was like, I sat down, thought about it. I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You replied very quickly saying yes. You didn't think about it for too long. You said, you were ready.
Well, like, this is the thing. I needed something. You know what? Like, with the 4448, and I think people don't realize it. It is a sort of good mind reset for you, because it's one of those things where, okay, when you're going through life, you forget. Well, it's easy to forget what sort of resilience you have, or if you need to sort of work on getting that resilience up there. And like the whole thing with, you go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna run a 5K. Yeah, that's fine. No worries. It's you, like, if you're not used to running, it's gonna stress you. 10K, same thing. It will stress you. But even if you are used to running, like what I find with the 4448, it's not just about, like, yeah, you can knock out 4 miles, yeah, not a problem. You can knock out 8 miles, not a problem. Like, you know what I mean? If you're getting that sort of rest in between, it's like, yeah, when you get to 12, like 40, like 16,
Yeah.
18, and with that sleep deprivation as well, because you're like, okay, then it becomes all kinds of different. You start to discover little things and nuances about yourself you don't know. And that's one of the things I found with the 4448. I don't know. What was it for you when you were doing it?
Well, my feeling was, first of all, we did that together in
Mm,
February of 2021.
yes.
Last February, and that was after I did it the year before my birthday. And I did it, but I walked a lot. And what I learned from there was I was. This is something that I think motivated me to do it because it was something different. Just doing a birthday run
Mm,
instead of trying to run my age 48 in one day and killing myself in the heat. Let me have fun and do it over 2 days. So I did it, but I didn't feel like I really pushed myself. And what you're talking about is finding something to do that motivates you, that pushes you, and is relatively difficult but not overwhelming. So
mm,
when you and I got together in February of 2021 to do it, first of all, I knew that I had you doing it across the pond, like that, across the pond.
yeah.
So that motivated me also. So I want to say that I enjoyed the fact that you and I both were trying something that wasn't intimidating, but it was a little different, a little nervous because no sleep, well, very little sleep. by the time you get to sleep, got to wake up again,
Mm,
and really trying to make sure that for 48 hours you're staying motivated. So I felt like it was something that, it was something that people, I think, forget about now, and that is a lot of people no longer have what I call these physical ways to push themselves, and the reason is it's very, very hard to compete for our mind space with not social media, with technology. I'm going to say technology.
mm,
And due to that, we don't have time where we just sit and say, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to get motivated to do this. And I want somebody else to help motivate me as well. It doesn't happen now because so many people are just stuck on YouTube or stuck on TikTok or so many other things that take their mind space that they
mm.
forgot what it feels like to go out and really push themselves physically. Now people say, you know what? I'm going to go out and run a 5K, and they feel as if they ran a marathon. As far as, whoa, a 5K. And yes, a 5K is tough if you don't run a lot. But the
Yeah.
point here being is you can train for, you can be in terrible shape and train for a 5K in 1 month. Okay, walking and running. And yes, so many people now say, I've done a 5K and I'm done. I've reached my limit. And that's just so not true. So the 4x4x48 is a great example of a challenge that's doable. It pushes you and gives you momentum for the next thing, but doesn't crush your spirit while you're doing it.
Well, like this, well, this is the thing. I think one of those things where, yeah, you're right. There is a lot of like things which occupy our minds and our time. But put it this way: if you talk about social media, like that, just basically entertainment as a whole, like we can like sit down and like literally eat cake all day long. Like you think about it, right? Like when I was a kid, when you were a kid, if you wanted to watch a TV show, for example, the 18, right? What you had to do, you like you needed to know what time that show was on, especially if
Yeah.
you didn't have a video recorder, and you needed to be there for that half an hour to watch that show. If you got delayed, something happened, you'll miss part of that show, or you'll miss that show completely. And once it aired, you might not see it for a year, 2 years, a
Yeah.
very long time. Now you can get any show you want immediately. You could fill
Immediately.
your whole day with all your favorite things, which won't necessarily test you physically.
And we've done that.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody's done that. Everybody's done that. And by the way, as you mentioned cake, while you're binging your season in 5 hours, you're also probably eating popcorn, eating chocolate, eating something unhealthy, ordering food, having fun, having big fun, right? But again,
yes,
these things sort of get you out of that. I'm going to use one of your things, the warrior mindset, right? The warrior mindset, where you're really trying to improve yourself, I say physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I think that the movement I'm here to talk to you about, I think that checks all three boxes. And the beautiful thing about it is it motivates people to do something, right? To shake up their status quo, and you check those three boxes. You'll feel fulfilled mentally, physically, and spiritually. And even better, it's not based on what my physical and mental condition is. It's based on yours.
mhm,
So even though I'm going to be doing 50 miles, if all you can do, if walking around your block 10 times tires you out, okay, then don't do 10 times. Commit to doing 15 times, okay, and walk slower, right? So you're not trying to do things that other folks do. You're going to do what pushes you out of your own comfort zone pushes you a little more than you think you can do it, right? Because mentally saying to yourself, okay, I can walk around the block 10 times, it hurts. 15 times, no, I can't do that. So mentally, you're dealing with what I call a what a oh, I forgot the terminology. You're dealing with a limiting thought, right? A
mm,
limiting thought. That thought is telling you you have a limit. You can't do 15. We want to get past that. To get past that, you tell yourself, you know what? 10 hurts, but I'm going to do 15. I'm going to
mm,
commit doing 15. So now that's the mental side. The physical side is getting up and doing it. And no, you don't get up and do 15, right? You first go out and do 7, then next day do 8, then next day do nothing. You work your way up to, let's say, 11. And then during the birthday week, my birthday week, do your 15. But you got to get ready for it, get prepared for it. That's the physical side. And then the other side is the spiritual side, which I'll tell you more about once you talk about the movement itself. I'll tell you more about that. But it's really getting people to really motivate themselves in three different ways: physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Mm. Yeah, you talk it like you mentioned like that mental limits people put on themselves, and I know you've had to be dealing with like a particular mental limit of the 17th mile. How has that gone? How is that going?
Now, when you say 17th mile, what do you mean?
Like basically, in your runs, you made mention like yeah, you get to mile 17, and it's just like yeah,
So, brother man, let me tell you,
uh huh,
back in the marathon days, right? Back in the marathon days, when I would say once you hit mile 17, 18, you hit that wall. Yeah, in here in Asia and maybe in Europe, once you hit about 30K, 32K, you
yeah,
hit that wall. You hit that wall. For my birthday run, I'm going to do 50 miles. So my 16 miles. So years ago, I had a 16-mile marathon training plan, and you probably ran 30K to train a couple times. So you faced that wall a few times. But once you got to that 17, 18 miles, that 30K, the run was finished. The training run. Okay,
mm,
16 miles. So now with the 50 miler, dude, I was doing 17 miles, 18 miles the third week. The third week, right? Last weekend was 27 miles. About 30, about what, about 30, 32K, something like, no, 27 miles, about 42K. And this Saturday, I have 32 miles. 32 miles, right? So that 17 mile, 18 mile, that's done. Okay. That's done. That's not even a thing now, right? The only barrier I have now is the sun, the sunshine. That heat and sunshine, that just cripples me. So that's my barrier. That's my barrier. So I must do like you now and go out and run before the sun comes out.
I hear you. I hear you. Like not the other week. About 2 weeks ago, I did a half marathon here in Leamington Spa, and like it was like right because I run early in the morning, no sun. This was one of the hottest days of the year. This is the second time I ran this because if you saw me the year before, I ran it like I was like yeah, it was a little bit overcast, but
Yeah.
I was out hoodie like early my morning thinking just like yeah, got 4 or 5 miles in, I was like taking off the hoodie, overheating, and like yeah, I was literally a wrecked man by the end of it. In 2022, I had to like I tried walking from the park back home. I had to call my lady to retrieve me because it was that bad. I was I was like, yeah. I was like, Karen, I need pickup. Yeah, she drove, picked me up, got in the car,
Yeah.
got out of the car, crawled into the house, and then promptly just
And
like,
leave me alone. And leave
yeah,
me alone.
touch me, don't talk to me, like, feed me by all means, yeah. But this year, because it was like, okay, I knew basketball jersey on, like, yeah, tracksuit bottoms, went at it, and I was like, yeah. Plus, with like 2 marathons now under my back, like under my belt, like proper official marathons, London and Brighton, it's like, yeah, that's all. Like, I was like much more prepared for what was to come. And so it was like, okay, yeah, got to the end and I managed to get home under my own steam without me like going, okay, yes, I need pickup.
So this year, a lot of that broke up due to some lag we here. But what you're saying is this year is much better.
Oh, yes, much better. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, yeah. So I was like, okay. And yeah, I'm now contemplating. I was like,
Yeah, we have a lot of lag here, so you haven't caught up to your screen yet.
yeah, with this, like, because I'm recording on my end, it should be perfectly fine. So,
Not yet.
yeah. So on your end, when,
I think we're
yeah,
good now.
cool. But yes, it won't really affect it. So it should be cool.
Okay. So
Hmm.
yes, the sun tell the truth, and I had look. I remember a few weeks ago, I had to do a gosh, it was only about, I want to say 12 miles, 12
Hmm.
miles, which is roughly 18K. And I had a meeting. I had a meeting at 8:30, 8 a.m. I went out at like, I want to say 5. And the weekend before, I did 10 miles in like 2 hours. Dude, it took me almost 4 hours to cover that 20K. I was just dead. I mean, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even run 300 meters. Okay. And that was one of the first days the sun came out. So my body absolutely wasn't used to it. And I had a long run that weekend. So I do understand the impact the heat has, which is why, a couple things, which is why what I'm doing makes me feel that much better because I'm putting in the work. I'm
Yeah.
putting in the pain, right? I'm putting in the miles. I'm dropping weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I got to do to really, really make, because, okay, so let me share with you what I'm doing, okay, which
Oh,
you already know, of course. I'm going to share with the audience. So August 13th this year, I will turn 50. And I am so happy to be turning 50, as opposed to saying, damn it, I'm getting older. Look, either you get older or you die. I would rather get older. So to mark my 50th birthday, I want to do something exceptional. And typically, since turning 34, almost every year I've run my miles, I run my age in miles on or around my birthday. But usually I'll go out, run for about 5 hours, come back in, rest, sleep, eat some food, go back out, and do that over 24 hours or 48 hours. So I really do it in a day, day and a half. Still tough, still tough. But this year I'm doing it in one go, meaning I'm going outside one time, not coming home until I cover 50 miles. And yes, I'm doing it all in 24 hours. Now, the challenge we have now is, I don't go on a tangent here, due to climate change. Yes, climate change is real, and if it's not real, due to whatever's going on in the world, it's hotter. It's hotter these days. August is typically the hottest month on calendar. It's going to be even hotter this year. So this year, I'm really going to have to really train for that. And now I appreciate it because they're making it harder. But the part that I'm doing different. You were with me. We know about, but 2 years ago, I got
mm,
a lot of people together to do the birthday run
yes.
throughout the world, and people did 5 miles, 10 miles. Nobody did the whole thing, which is fine. This year, though, I'm recruiting people globally to take part in doing what I'm calling a movement. A movement. So not just me out there running, I'm trying to make this into a movement. And I'm going to read to you what I mean by movement. I'm reading now from my webpage. The 50 at 50 movement, an inspirational quest to do something remarkable with you and our global community. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to get people to really be fulfilled in those three ways we talked about, right? The first one being mental, mental before physical. Okay, mental before physical, because if you're not ready mentally, the physical side doesn't matter. And you know this, when you run your races, when you get tired, it's not physical, it's mental. Before you start your race, before you even take one step, your mental is messing with you. So you know it's mental, not physical.
Yeah. No. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
And then you're right. So the next part after mental is the physical. Once mentally you're geared up and ready, you're not even confident, but you're willing to do it. Then you can go out there and physically try it. And again, you're not going out there and trying to lift 1,000 pounds day one. You're going to train for it and improve over time. That's the physical side. But here is what I call the spiritual side. And I'm going to go back to my website here. Experience the feeling of fulfillment in the following areas. Mentally, gain the mental strength to go beyond the limiting beliefs or lies that you
Mm,
tell yourself. Physically, gather the physical strength to push your body to a new limit. And then spiritually, feed your spirit and experience gratitude and fulfillment by giving to those in need. Now, this is the giving side. And I'll tell you a story in a moment. It's the giving side where people will be giving to those in need. And in reality, I'm going to be giving on their behalf, on your behalf, Maria. So what that means is once you register, you'll then go and select a giving program I have and select who to give to. You have four choices, right? Click a button, and then you'll give them, for example, food for one day, water for one day. You give like that, and that comes out of my pocket. So this is me really showing my gratitude for you not joining my movement, but gratitude for you preparing to go beyond you, preparing to uplift yourself mentally and physically. So again, there's no cost from the people signing up. It's more coming from my pocket, but it's really more me again giving back and help people to get the motivation to really, really give. And I'll tell you something really quick. The organization I'm working with is called B1G1, and
Mhm.
B1G1 typically they're set up to help organization businesses. Once a client buys a product or purchases your services, you make a donation on their behalf. So I'm using that framework, and I had a call with one of the founders last week, and I was telling him what I'm trying to do because I'm not a company, I'm an individual, and how we can sort of use his platform still to meet my needs. And one thing he said, because everything I said was donation, charity, charity, donation. He schooled me. He said, Colin, don't say, if you look at our website, you won't see charity or donations anywhere. You'll see impact, you'll see giving. And
Mm.
he went on to say that people now in 2023, people have a different view on the term donation and charity. Some people believe that if you donate $1, maybe 10 cents gets to the actual need. Some folks think charities don't really need. So avoid donations and avoid charity, which was very surprising to me, but I do understand where it's coming from. So
Mm.
now we reframed that from saying donate to a charity to give and make an impact. So all on my platform, you see more of impact and giving as opposed to donations and charity.
Yeah. No, like this is the thing. Yeah, it's ever so important for impacts to be made, and like yeah, by like individuals, like gathering other individuals together to build that motivation and what motivation momentum to bring that impact to the world. Because look, don't get me wrong, there are many charities out there and like yeah doing their thing, but it's one of those things where it can be quite disjointed from individuals. So the more individuals you can get involved in
Right.
regards to like say like a community, the better. Because like that's one of the things which is weird in this like hyper connected world. Like as much as we're like talking, meeting people, like for example, if we just like yeah connected on LinkedIn, didn't do a podcast, didn't have our conversation, like, you know what I mean? Didn't do the podcast, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have led to, yes, many a conversation over the, like, out over WhatsApp, doing the 4448 and stuff like that. But it's like over the course of time, we have built that connection on a bigger level. And if you can get a whole community on a bigger level to connect personally, in person, over the internet,
Yeah.
stronger, much
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to remind you that when the idea came to me months ago, actually more than a month ago, I came to you and I said, Miriam, come on, man. I need you to be the flavor of this, man. I need you to be the hype man, yada yada yada. You got a big network. And you were like, maybe not Flavor Flav, okay, maybe not the hype man, but I'll give you some good ideas. And you gave me a lot of good ideas on how to really promote and get more people involved. And this literally is my first podcast doing promotion and recruiting. So again, thank you for allowing me to come to on your platform first and sort of framing how I'm going to be presenting this, because one of the things we talked about was going back to previous podcasts I've been on and
Mhm.
talking about this. And idea you had was, Colin, the folks who joined your birthday runs in the past, go talk to them, get them involved, and have them make a little short video talking about A, B, and C. So all those things are coming together now. Only have about 6 weeks. So next 2 weeks will be a lot of work doing that. But again, I want to give you your propers for really helping give me the ideas on how to go forward and get more people involved.
I am happy to help, more than happy to help. And like, yeah, when it comes to good people like yourself doing good things, I'm all on board with that. It's like, look, you you are doing true leadership by like true leaders serve others rather than actually do things which just service themselves. If you get what I
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to speak about is is the B1G one. I'm not going to go into the history, but one of the reasons why I chose to go with them is because the very moment that you make a impact, you do a giving action, you see where the money goes. You see where it goes directly to that project.
Mm.
There is no admin. It goes directly there. And once you give, you can see that. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do, because this is putting you on the spot. I would like you, sir, to literally be the first person who signs up to join the 50 at 50 movement. And as you sign up, you'll be asked to identify what is your physical activity. But more importantly, once you're finished, you're going to go to a site, and what that site will do, that site will then allow you to select which cause you're going to give to.
Mm. Well, well, thank you very much. I am on.
I'm going to put the URL here in the chat.
It's like, yes, like, you know what? As they say, you never forget your first.
Even if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah. I'll
Yeah,
be happy to
yeah,
sign
and
up.
so click that button, man, and we'll walk through it. And one thing for your audience to know is right now, again, anytime you're giving or making an impact, that's coming out of my pocket. This is for me to show gratitude for anybody who signs up, because if you sign up, that means you're doing something physically, mentally that intimidates you. And I want to really commend you for that. Some people are going to want to donate themselves, but I haven't figured that out yet. It's more complicated how they can donate their own money. But for now, I'm okay to help make an impact on a global level.
I'm looking at your website now. 39 days, 17 hours, 2 minutes. And yeah. Fine.
So yeah, so I literally just finished doing this about 10 minutes before our call started. So I have been on this. So you're gonna really, as you go through this, you'll see any bugs. So if you scroll down, you can read the stuff later, right? But if you scroll down to sign up here, right? Sign up here.
Yes.
And for your audience, that is colincthompson.com/50 dash at dash 50.
Like, don't you worry, I'll put this all into the show notes. So yes,
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
found. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. So with like, what would you like? Do you have a particular goal in mind? Is there a target you want to achieve with
Yes,
this over the course of time?
yes. So the course of time is between now and August 13th. I
Hmm.
want to make over 500 impacts. And what an impact is each time that you do a giving action. And let's say, for example, that it costs 50 cents to feed one person for one day.
Yeah.
If we do, and there are ways for people to donate. If you would do a giving action of $4, that's 8 impacts, right?
Mm.
So I want to really hit 500 impacts. On the website, you'll see the our giving impacts to date. The number now is 6, right? I want that to be 500. That's one goal. I also want to get at least 50 people signed up to support this. 50 people signed up to go beyond their comfort zone,
Mhm.
get past their limiting beliefs, get past their belief that they can't get up and be physical, right? Get past that. 50 people to actually commit to doing something. I'm going to say this. I want I want the completion rate to be 90%, because it's very easy to sign up and say I'm going to do it,
Mhm.
but what's going to make you actually do it when the time comes? And I think that's going to be the community, making sure that once you sign up, you're not getting bombarded with messages, but you are getting reminded of your commitment, and you are saying, hey, are you training? Do you need any help? Do you need any assistance? Really making sure that people keep that interest in what they're doing. Because again, it's easy to sign up, but I do want people to actually take the second step and actually finish what they're committed to doing. Because once they finish, we then do another giving activity. So everybody can give at least 2 times. So 50 people, and I wanted to get, and I have this written down here, so thank you. I believe I wanted to get, I want to say 20 different cities involved, folks from 20 different cities. So I'm going to come back to with those numbers in a moment as I see them.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's here in my notebook. I just got to find it.
Yeah. No, like my man, this is the thing. Like this is going to be quite an impressive feat to do because, okay, yeah, getting 50 different people involved, 20 different cities, that is a lot of logistic work right there. Getting that coordination down, and yeah, basically doing it all in 39 days. Ooh.
It's a lot of work, and quite frankly, it's how to say it's also the idea you gave me also is also making videos and uploading videos every week to show how the training is going, how the progress is going. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and quite frankly, it's not always fun, but I think the end goal is worth it. The end goal is worth it. So when I'm recruiting people, I'm also recruiting volunteers, not just individuals to do something physically. Because when I do my run, I'm going to need aid stations. I'm going to need people who are going to put an aid station together,
Mm,
have food there, have whatever. And then once I'm gone, pack it up and go to the next aid station. And oh, by the way, that station may not need to be there for another 2 hours, right? So I'm recruiting for a lot of people, but I do think that people. Here's the thing. I hope, right? I hope I'm able to do a good job recruiting. Last year I was able to do it, but 2 years ago I was able to do it. But those are runners. It's easy to recruit runners because runners run.
mhm,
But for the folks that don't run, my brother doesn't run. I have two brothers. One does, one doesn't. He doesn't run. He walked, right? So that's why I put in here, you don't have to run.
mm.
You can do whatever, push ups, whatever you want to do. So I'm hoping that I can have the energy, have some of your energy when I talk to people and get them motivated, inspired to really take action.
Mm. Yes, taking action, motivation, getting those people going. Now, I think with what you're doing, I think, yeah, there's no reason why it won't be successful this year. I'm curious, like, will you keep this going from this point in 50 all the way until until you shuffle off this mortal coil, or is it a case of yeah, let's see how it goes for the next 5 years, and maybe it might take on a new life, or maybe take you in a completely different direction from what you're doing right now?
So, Miwa, first of all, thank you for saying it like that, okay? Because and one of the things I have on my website is I'm going to read it to you. Is um, to be honest, some friends and family think I'm crazy for taking this challenge, and what they say is, "Well, you can't do it forever. What are you going to do when you turn?" Years ago, when I was 45, what are you going to do when you turn 50? You can't do it at 50. You can't do it at 55. So I'm going to continue doing what I can do.
Hmm.
Perhaps in 2 3 years, I can't do 53 miles in one day. Maybe I need a day and a half. And if I need a day and a half, I need a day and a half. That's fine, right? It's not the time. This year I want to do one day, but the duration doesn't matter. What matters is getting out there and going beyond my limit. And one thing is, when you run 50 in one day, you say to yourself, "Well, heck, man, it's only one more mile," but it's not. It's 51 miles.
No, no, like yeah, no, absolutely. Because like I remember years ago, like one of my best mates, his like girlfriend at the time. This was back in 2012. So we were watching the Olympics, and they were doing powerlifting, and like she went, like the guy was about to do 199 kilos, like clean and jerk.
Ah,
I was there going,
wow.
yeah, I can't do that for the life of me. But it was like, yeah, went like 199 kilos, went up from like 97. I was like, oh my God. Because I understood the sort of like, yeah, not just the mechanics and the lifting, but the sort of psychological edge. I
Yeah.
went, Right.
Yeah.
She was like, but yes, only 2 kilos. You should do that easy. I went, yeah, no, it's not that simple. It's
Not
not that
that
simple
simple.
because, like, yeah, you've got the weight, but that 1 kilo, that 2 kilos makes a whole world of
A whole
difference.
world of difference.
I went, yeah, you go to the shops, like they do it deliberately. You want to buy something, it's never £10, it's 9.99 because they know there's a psychological
Yes, it's the
barrier.
nine. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
she was like, yeah. I don't know if she exactly got it, but I was like, yeah, but she was like, okay.
Yeah, and that's a very I very much like your analogy with with the deadlift, right? That makes a lot of sense. That little half kilo
Mhm.
makes a world of difference. Makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
But and again, it's there's such a big, for me anyway, for the training, there was such a big psychological or mental barrier challenge I wanted to get past because,
Mhm.
when I looked at my 16-week training program, it had Saturday runs of 17 miles, 22 miles, 32 miles. And I'm saying to myself, huh? I can't. And then when I had a 19-mile run, and literally in the first 2 miles, I was tired. How
Mm,
do you mentally say to yourself, okay, I'm going to be out here for another 3, 4 hours, and I can either just have a bad mental state or I can just suck it up. And I'm proud to say that when I run now, I never think about how tired I am. I will say, okay, I'm tired. I am tired, but I don't stay there. I'm
mm,
able now to daydream. I'll tell you what's funny is now I don't, when I go out and run, I don't use music or books on tape or anything like that because it distracts me. It distracts me. It distracts me from just thinking about what I'm doing and thinking about life in general and whatnot. So for me, a big part of this is that mental. If I go back 5 years and some marathons, some races I did, when I did some triathlons, the swim would just wear me out. So I'm tired from the swim. I get on the bike. For the next 3 hours on the bike, all I'm thinking is I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, and it's miserable. It's miserable. But now I'm able to say, okay, I'm tired, and I think about it, and that's what I want to gain going through this because I learned the training for 50 miles is not so much about. I'll give an example, and I learned this literally last weekend with the 27 miles. I learned that the goal for the 27-mile long run is not to run 27 miles. Because if I run 27 miles and I finish it and I'm dead tired, exhausted, but I finished 27 miles, I failed.
mm,
The goal is to run 27 miles and still be able to run more miles. The goal is 50, not 27. So when you have these 27 miles, these 32 miles, the goal there is to really learn how to run long. That
mm,
means eating, that means walking, that means taking your breath, that means making sure that while you're doing it, you're not exhausted. You don't. So my goal in 27 miles was the first 14 miles, half, don't get tired. If
mhm,
I get tired after halfway, fine, I can suck it up. But don't get tired the first half. That was my goal. And once I got halfway, not tired, I said, okay, don't get tired. And it took me longer, more walking, but I was not tired. I could have went another 10 miles, and that's the goal. And you can apply that to so many different things in our personal lives, right? If you're able to deal with this thing in life, and don't just say, you know what, this thing no longer triggers me. Okay, that's fine. But what else triggers you? And what can you learn from not being triggered and apply it to that and make sure these heavier things don't trigger you also. So all this stuff is really helping me build up my mental health and mental fitness. And that's what I want people to do, to be able to do the same.
mm,
Build up their mental fitness by doing something that intimidates them, that worries them to the point it no longer worries them, intimidates them anymore.
mm. Yeah, no, no, this is the thing. That's the most important thing. Like, because yes, mental health. Like people like bang on about mental health a lot these days, but they don't actually work on their mental health. And like you gotta go, what do you mean? How do you work on your mental health? Like, yeah, that could be meditation. That could be it. No, it's meditation, physical activity. Like, you know what I mean? Like sitting down, like really sort of like, yeah, taking a good look at yourself, like, and learning who you are as a person. But also with all of that, building that resilience at the end of the day, because life will test us all. It doesn't care. As the bard says, like the rain falls on the just and
Mm-hmm.
unjust alike.
Mm-hmm.
Life will
Yeah.
come at you, and if you don't have that sort of resilience, if you haven't done all of this for your mental health, yes, this is
Yeah.
why I would say a lot of people these days experience a lot of anxiety when, if you like rewound this a good 30, 40 years, it would not be in that sort of anxiety state, if you get what I mean.
I do get what you mean. I think there are different things that have led people to not having as much resilience as people used to have. Now, part of
Mm,
it also is more people are willing to talk about their mental health now than before. So we don't know we don't really know, right? But I can see that, I'm a coach, right? I'm a life coach. So
yes.
I really coach a lot of people who are, I've seen over the years a shift in people in people's level of resilience, in their grit, in
Mm,
their ability to motivate themselves and keep themselves in a positive mindset. And I got to say that year on year on year, it's getting worse, which is why what I'm doing here really is in line with one of the sustainability,
sustainability.
sustainability
Yeah.
initiatives from the United Nations. I believe it's number 3. I think it is health and well-being. Right,
Mm,
I'm good health and well-being. So what I'm doing really leans on that because that's my profession, and a lot of people now. I don't want to go back to this again, but there are just so many different triggers that we see each day that take us out of that stop us from having that positive mindset from the very moment we wake up. For example, I'm going to say that 90% of people, and I hate to say 90% of people age, I'm going to say age 13, 14 to about 55, the first thing they do in the morning is reach for the mobile phone and check things. And that's starting their day out on the wrong side because the first thing they're going to say is, oh, I have no messages. I have no likes. Nobody likes me. Or they're going to say something else, right? So
mm.
it's really starting your day out being triggered by your, your devices. So we have to really find a way to sort of, I have a talk I do saying that one of the things we need to do is we need to unplug. We need to unplug our devices and replug into ourselves, right? Learn more about ourselves again. Learn more, daydream again. People don't daydream. People just, if they have a minute, looking at their phone, right? Anytime they can't be. When was the last time you were really? No, I don't want to put you on the spot, but people can't be bored anymore because once they get bored, they'll, as you mentioned, turn on YouTube, go to the devices. So let me not get on my ramble, but there is a definitely a something to be said about our inability to have that mental fitness, have the resilience, and it's coming because we're not dealing with things. It's like when you have a child and you shield your child from all things evil, all things bad. Your child never builds up the knowledge on how to deal with things that are evil and bad.
Mm. Well, I put it this way. Yeah, like, yeah, no, like with regards to being like boredom, like if someone like I'd be it amazes me that some people in this day and age say they are bored because there is so much out there to keep them occupied. Like what I think it is, it's not even a case of like, yeah, being bored. It's just they're just keeping occupied. They're not
Mm-hmm.
gaining anything. They're not doing anything positive. They're just occupied. I'm occupied with this app. I'm occupied with that. But if you took 10% of that occupied time and like went, okay, learn this skill. Don't like it doesn't even have to be like let's get physically fit. Just take 10% of that time and energy, learn a skill.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. It's one of those things where they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So if that was true, if it was true that eating one apple every day would keep the doctor away and you'd be in good health, eating one apple every day would keep you in good health. We were There'd be so many people that don't eat an apple that wouldn't do it for whatever we don't know why. We don't know why, right? So we know that sometimes things, like you said, 10%, right? 10% is easy to do. But because it's easy to do doesn't mean people are going to do it. And and to figure out why, quite honestly, is a waste of time, right? I think it's more of the people who do, how can you push them along? And oh, by the way, slowly, perhaps those who don't get motivated by those who do and start doing. And that's what this 50 at 50 movement is trying to do. It's trying to say we are a community of people doing this, right? If you don't want to do it, join us, get motivated, and come along for the ride, right? You're not doing this alone.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I love that. I love it a lot. Yeah. Nah. With this, like with this movement, with what you want to do, have you found this is leading you to like take a new approach? Like as you say, you're a life coach with regards to how you are now interacting with clients, like what you like, yeah, what you want for your expectations and what you want for their expectations.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. It's
Mhm.
because I've been into sports and athletics for a long time, and I know what it takes to get people who aren't really into those things into those
Mhm.
things. And not saying taking somebody who's a couch potato and having them go run a marathon. No, just getting people to improve their health by doing exercise. It could be walking, it could be doing whatever. So I don't try to do that. I don't try to do that. Quite frankly, there's two parts, right? One part we talked about is me really trying to motivate people to to get fulfilled in those three ways, right? Mentally, physically, and spiritually. That's for everybody else. But there is a humongous side. I'm going to say about 30, about 70% of this is about me. To be honest with you, it's about me,
Mhm.
and it's about what it's about the change in my life, in my lifestyle that this will bring to me. Because I know that for me to train to be able to do 50 miles in one outing, I must change. For example, I was a daily alcohol drinker, not to the point where I'm drunk, but
Mhm.
each evening I would have my drinks, and I'd wake up in the morning a little slow every day, literally every day. 3 weeks ago, when I was midway through my training, and I had a the first time I went out for a run, and after a mile, I said, I can't do it. I turned around, went back home, and I said, Colin, you have to, if you can run this 50 at 50, but don't change your lifestyle, then you've blown it. From that day, I said, no more alcohol. And I haven't touched it since. Right. And I could feel the difference on a daily basis. I'm like, wow, I wake up with energy. This is what people feel every day. This amount of energy. Seriously. And I feel, and I don't waste time with saying, Colin, had you stopped drinking years ago, you'd be, no. I say drinking, and in my family, it's been there for a long time. So already I'm making changes. So for me to get through this and have changed that part of my life, you can't be, there is no price you can put on that. So for me, the main thing here is what kind of person must I become to be able to meet this challenge at 50 at 50. That's what's important to me. Yes, motivating other people, but first I gotta say, the airplane is going down. They tell you put your life jacket on before you put anybody else's, right? So I
Mhm.
must take care of myself first. So the person who I'm becoming, the change I'm making in my life, and getting rid of some bad habits and poor habits, that's the main thing, the most important thing about this 50 at 50 movement. And the more people to hear my story, I hope it motivates them as well.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And like this is the thing with regards to like yeah the old alcohol, the old sauce, people like drinking and stuff like this. Look, like if you met me when I was in my 20s and 30s, yeah, my drinking level was up there, very much up there. And like yeah, over the course of time, it is tapered off. And yeah, I might I would say drink an alcoholic drink once every 3 months or something like
Wow.
that. But
Wow.
it's like, yeah, but it's very rare and far between. I'm gonna say it now. You need to make sure you are sort of video documenting, like, yeah, the sort of like, yeah. the health changes you've made with regards to drinking, like yeah, the nutrition you're like having to do, like the sort of lessons you're picking up for like how you need to sort of keep yourself fueled. Because look, doing a 27-mile training run, it's a marathon plus a mile. That's what it is, people. A marathon plus a mile.
And there's no medal, and you get no medal.
Oh no, you don't. You don't get no medal, but it's a case of like the aspect of the pain a mile can do to you when you're doing it. It's the weirdest sensation. It's one of those things. If I explained it, it's slightly different for everyone. But you've done that, and then you're getting ready for a training run about 2 days later to carry on.
Yeah. And to your first point, I have a good friend of mine whom volunteered. I shared with him. Well, actually, I called him and said, "Kizito, here's what I'm trying to do," and he said, "You know what, Colin? How about we barter?" Okay, so I'm giving him free life coaching, and he's recording and going to produce a documentary about this movement, which is why he told me to make sure I record our opening, just so in the documentary we have that as well. So he reminds me, record this. I think right now I have too much video of negative stuff. My first run was terrible. I had COVID runs, and I'm always talking about how terrible this is, because when you're doing something like this, the first part, because it hurts, it's tough to do, it's not fun. Now, granted, after a while, you say, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm motivated. I feel excited. That comes and goes. Every week or so, I feel like that, but then the next day you go out and run again, and you feel tired. So it comes and goes. So I'm recording that because, for me, again, I want to have a historical record of this. I could look at this years ago and say, Colin Thompson, you did it. My kids can see it. So I don't know what we're going to do with it, but this is something I want for me to have that record, because turning 50 and doing this in one day is going to be something I look back on, and I'm very, very proud, very, very proud. So I am doing that part and recording it. And let me tell you, I remember the first time I ran a 5K. It almost killed me. And this was for Susan Komen breast cancer run in Washington, D.C. I forget what year, maybe 96, 97. And I remember starting out, I was probably 22, 23, and I started out, boom, running. Right? This old black gentleman, right? The old black man said, young man, slow down. It's a long race. In my mind, I'm like, oh, man, you don't know. I'm Colin Thompson. Oh, come on, old man. Dude, about 10 minutes later, I was dead. I'm walking toward the finish line, right? Here comes the old man passing me up. Hey, young man. Hey, young man. Hey, young man, right? So you talk about the 27-mile training run being a marathon plus one. There was a time that my marathon was a 5K. Then my marathon became a half marathon. Then it became a marathon. So even now, again, it's raising that belief of what can be done. So now I know I can go run a marathon, as a training run. Now it's going to be long. It's going to be much longer than a race marathon, because I'm not training for a marathon. So everything is longer, right? It'll be much longer, but it can still get done. It can still get done. So I think the good thing about this, and I hope people feel this, is once they stretch themselves and go beyond, again, if you can only walk around the block 10 times and you commit to doing it 15 times, once you get that 15, you may say to yourself, well, heck, man, I'm going to get 16 next time. Or you may say, you know what, I'm going to get 15 again. So I hope people continue to stretch themselves just beyond this one time.
I hear you. I guess time is against me. But yes. Now, final question. Now, let's say this is maybe a challenge to you, for me. Like, what would you be doing maybe in February 2024?
So February 2024, one thing I know I'll be doing is celebrating my wedding anniversary.
Okay.
So I know I'll be doing that. And I should, by that point, I should be, okay, excuse my French, I should be shitting marathons every month. Okay? because I have a goal. I have a goal to run my age in marathons, right? Meaning, I turned 50. This is a goal I had years ago, but because I started doing triathlons, I stopped doing marathons. So right now, I have 25 marathons under my belt. I
Mhm.
want to get to my age, and realistically, 5 marathons a year for me is a lot. So hopefully, by the time I turn 55, 56, I can push myself and get there. So in February next year, I should be doing another marathon.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say, yeah. Would you like to do the like 4-4, like 48 once again?
You know what? If you want to, yes. If you want to, yes. I think though that by then we should have a something a little more challenging. I don't know what that is. Okay, but because we've done the 4 by 48. So the question is, what's the goal? Is it to do it or do it faster, do it better? Is it to do it and get more folks to do it with us? What's the real goal? If it's just to do it to see if we can do it, no. But if it's to do it to get other folks involved, yes.
Mm. Okay, okay. Yes. Okay. I will have to like put my thinking cap on and come up with something a little bit more challenging, say.
Yeah, because if I recall correctly, you didn't do 4 by 48. You did 4 by 4 by 50, meaning you ran 50 miles. You ran 2 extra miles,
I,
correct?
I did the equivalent of 2 marathons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you ran extra.
Yeah,
So
okay.
don't go back. So don't go back down to 48.
No, no. So, never do that. Never do that. Ah, man. Never do that. Ah, but yeah, Colin.
So I
I,
have a question for you. I have a question for you.
yes.
Let me say one thing. So this weekend of the 16-mile training program, this weekend is the furthest one-day run,
Ah,
32 miles. And we're going to Hong Kong tomorrow with my family. So it's going to be done in Hong Kong. And
oh,
one of the things I love about running in Shanghai, Shanghai is about as flat as a desktop, okay? Totally flat. Hong Kong,
no,
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 no.
no.
Oh, no, I've not been to Hong Kong. I have not been to Hong Kong, but I know what that place. Oh no! How you got?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
So it's
compact
good.
mountains.
Yeah, yeah, and hills. So it's gonna be a situation where I'll probably start running at 3 a.m., which is good because I get used to running early, 3 a.m., and
Yeah,
hopefully I can get done by 7 a.m. So we'll see. No, no, not 7 a.m. I'll be done by 7 a.m., but hopefully I can get done, before the sun gets too high in the sky. But my question to you, sir,
yes.
two questions. Will you be the first to sign up as a participant for the 50 at 50 movement? And what will your physical activity be?
Oh, now, hmm. One, yes. Physical activity, not sure yet, because yeah, comes down to August 13th. Not too sure what I'll be doing around about that time. But
Now,
yeah,
one thing to add, you don't have to do it on the 13th. I'm giving everybody the week of the 13th to do it, but it must be done by the 13th. So you have a number of days, which means you can do a lot of different things.
like if I was going to like do something different other than like running, I might do like yeah, time on the bike, maybe like 100 miles or something like that, or 100
Okay.
each
Okay.
of speed.
Can I ask you to commit to registering by your lunchtime, by your 12 noon?
Like well, like this is the thing. 12 noon today. Oh, I think I can do that for you.
Yes. And the
Otherwise,
beautiful thing is, if you want to change your exercise later, you can do that, right? The main thing is making the commitment. And then once you do that, you'll be taken to the page where you can actually do your impact, do your giving.
right? Indeed, consider it done. Consider
Yes,
it
sir. Yes, sir. Brother, man, I am, this excites me because now I have one.
done.
Right? I'm no longer alone.
like,
And once you have one, you know you can get another.
like you weren't alone in this endeavor. I would put it this way. Like I was the one before there was one. So there you go. There you go. Like always in the shadows. But yeah, I'm watching. I'm watching. Ah,
Yeah, and let me just turn this. I want to do this video here. Okay. So I'm here with Maria. You can see him there, and we just got him. He has just confirmed that he will be the first person to join and sign up. Repeat that, sir.
yes, I will be the first person to join and sign up for the 50 at 50 movement. There you
Yeah, yes. So we got it. We got one. And again, this is the brother that again, man. If I'm gonna find a way to put his information in here because this is the brother. Go watch his videos. You'll see him sweating, wet as f, right, with a headlamp on, out in those streets running. Okay, this brother gets it in. So yes, he's gonna do it.
ah, you see, most kind, most kind. Ah, Colin, a pleasure, an honor to have you on today. Always, always a joy. Yes, should be getting you on more. Like, yeah, 3 years is an unacceptable gap.
3 years and 300 or 297 like that episodes later, right?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, 311. Oh, welcome to 400 and beyond. Yes.
Yeah. So look, man, I look forward to it, and yeah. So we'll talk again, man. We'll talk again because I'm going to try to get you on WhatsApp and have a conversation with you probably the last week, man, just to get some more ideas. Not, in a few weeks from now to get some more ideas.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to get you on this podcast again just after you finish your 50. And yeah,
Yeah,
talk about your trials, tribulations, your joys, success, and victories. Boom.
yeah. Thank you, man.
No worries. Yes. All the information for Colin will be in the show notes. So yes, get signed up to his movement, get moving, get going, and yeah, make something positive happen.
Yeah, and it's our movement. Get signed up to our movement because you are now officially part of it. So get signed up to our movement.
Yes. What can I say? Like, I haven't made the psychological jump yet. Yeah. Like, now I'm in. Like, probably, fully on.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, Colin. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us to the end of the show. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Peace and love. Peace. And we are out.